The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. Once more into the breach do we go, dear friends.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
And there they are. A little slow on the pickup today. So what do we have going on? We're up 14 on the S&P. The Dow's up 160. The Nasdaq's up 15.5. And, of course, when we take a look at volume, what are we doing out here today? Well, pretty good. 2.2 billion shares as we start the show. And is it as gangbusters? No. Is it bad? No. Is it vapor? No. And we'll watch it. We're probably getting a little lofty in some of these stocks. Everybody wanted to pile in at the very beginning of the year. Where I'm already anticipating some sector rotation that's really kind of starting in the last couple of days for a stock I have in the longer term, Tech Insider. Some of the other ones actually took off on Tuesday. And so that's kind of looking interesting. I'm also got some medium-term holds going on in some sectors in the daily newsletter. I really like the way that some of these things are setting up. Patience is going to be vastly rewarded, I suspect, in many of these in the near future. But we'll talk about this and more. But nothing changed from yesterday. I am still thinking that gold is going to just creep up a little bit each day, 0.25%, 0.5% on average. It's can do that for a long time, I think. Now, will we get pullbacks and everything else? I think so. But my thought is that, we've got a fairly decent market where the Fed could be way behind the curve, and that probably would come 6 to 9 months down the line, but gold probably anticipating that, I think we'll do fine. So we've got our rate hikes, but probably not enough rate hikes to cut off any inflation. The Fed wants some inflation, so I think they're going to get exactly what they want. Why they may protest thus too much, I know very little of what I know about Shakespeare. Thus protest too much. I know that. I know the guy runs around with a skull for some reason. Eventually, I guess I'll have to watch some of those. But that's kind of it. We got some very interesting chart patterns starting to show up. We'll look and see how those did today. Talk about Intel also after the news and the nattering nabobs of negativity on Intel. It may go up or down, but to paraphrase a wise and great leader of England, never have so many gotten so much so wrong so quickly. We'll talk more about that later, too. Let's do a little history.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
It is history repeating, and on this day in 1999, for the first time since Charlemagne's reign in the 9th century. Old Charlemagne, I think I had him in gym class. Europe is united with a common currency when the euro debuts as a financial unit in corporate and investment markets. 11 European Union nations, Australia, Belgium, Finland, France, Germany, Ireland, Italy, and Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Portugal, and France, representing some 290 million people, launched the currency in the hopes of increasing European integration and economic growth. Great Britain, Sweden, Denmark, the smart ones, opted not to use the euro. Greece, after initially being excluded for failing to meet all the requirements, adopted the euro in January 2001, becoming the 12th member of the so-called Eurozone. And of course, they did it by lying, like the rest of them all did. And that is the problem. You've got to trust all the other people that are lying. And how do you know that politicians are lying? Their mouth is moving. And of course, you had to basically sell your soul to the devil and throw your citizens to the wolves to placate it's hard to tell. They're Marxists one days and Nazis the next, at least in my opinion, in Brussels. They certainly don't give a damn about anybody that actually lives in that area. All they can really want is control of every human being in almost a 1984-like mentality. Freedom of speech that we enjoy here in the United States may come with some consequences for spouting things that other people don't like. But in Germany, new law, and in England already, if you say things they don't like, they'll call it hate speech and come after you. So I don't see it being a great thing over there lately. A lot of denying of the truth in Germany. That is that they have huge problems with immigration, and no one wants to bring that up. England had enough, and by small margins said, hasta la vista. Not quite like Schwarzenegger said it, but kind of in a low voice. They're now fighting to figure out how to do that. But you know what? The whole states thing was kind of an interesting idea, an experiment here in the United States. But you've got to be able to ride the fascists, especially in a place like the Europe where so many people have control over so many. Maybe so few have some control over so many. But we're kind of witnessing the beginning of the end of the euro. Eventually, the tide will go out, and everybody will be there standing, pointing fingers at everybody else, calling them liars, when, of course, they were doing all the horrible things in their country that they were complaining about other people's doing. I'll be back. I don't know. Oh, that was another thing that he said. Anyway, wanted to go to Intel just because it's so interesting to me that we have both the CEO, who is one of the few CEOs I know who actually has designed a processor. The guy spent a lot of time in developing the Pentium processor as an engineer. He's one of the few people that came in. Anyway, he came out last night, said it wasn't a design flaw. Instantly, what did the press say? It's a design flaw. But, if I built a car that would go 150 miles an hour and I put tires on it that were good for 150 miles an hour, and someone figured out a way to make the car go 170 miles an hour, if the tires blew out, would that be a design flaw? I don't think so. We'll talk about what the quote issue is, and it's not a flaw. But it's a little Death Star-ish. So we'll talk about that too when we come back. Then we'll get into some charts, which are very interesting.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And as I said before the break, never have so many reported so many things so wrong in this Intel case. Part of it was, of course, that the CEO miraculously sold all his shares. And it's kind of true. I think he kept 250,000. But he's getting a ton of options. And so he's taken some money off the table, but he decided to do that, and it was pre-planned, unlike what CNBC said earlier this morning, over a year ago. Then he was the CEO was supposed to have known about the flaw in midsummer, and there isn't a flaw. Again, like I said, if you build a car and someone figures out a way to make it go faster and modifies your car, is it a flaw? If the tires blow out? Probably not. And that's where everybody's getting a little bit excited out here. What the truth of the matter is that what they figured out is that almost every chip, not only Intel's, but AMD's, just the same, and the chip in Apple's unit, where you can physically change the speed of the chip, you can get in there if you do the right thing and turn the speed up all the way and melt the chip down. Now, in my case, I use liquid cooling. I don't think that they could turn the thing on so fast that it would run and still continue to run and burn it up. But that's kind of the idea that they're doing. They're just going to, some malcontent kid in his basement is going to write some code that basically fries all the processors. If it's air-cooled, there's probably a possibility that you could fry the processor. If it's water-cooled, probably not. But just a lot of misreporting about what it is. No one brings up any of them. And then you look, but it's kind of interesting. More interesting to me is the press coverage on Intel that paints them as a devil that knew it all along. And then Apple almost getting a free ride on CNBC and other business news networks, where it may have corporate officials going to jail in France for throttling the speed of older iPhones. You hear about one peep about that for every 100 peeps about there's a giant flaw in Apple's, in Intel's chips. So why there's a little truth to this, there's a whole bunch of smoke, and mostly it's being propagated by those people who know little or nothing about chip design. But it's interesting nonetheless. The press, especially on a weekday like yesterday, it's snowing, there's not a lot of news, it's easy to fill 2 or 3 hours. But I think if you watch the interview that, I want to call him Cranston, but his name isn't Cranston, it's Crans something or other, at Intel. He gave basically every answer and a specific answer. And if you're going to lie, what you do is you send out somebody else that you can fire later for lying. You don't go out there as the CEO and lie through your face, unless it's the absolute last option. So I think there were a lot of discussions about whether or not the current CEO at Intel was going to get another run. So I think maybe him selling his shares was probably the right thing. He filed to do that with the board last February. So if you even believe all the brouhaha that he knew last summer about the potential problem, where's all these chips that are melted down since then? It was a problem. They were gonna all melt down in a day. Didn't happen, did it? There still isn't one case of anybody showing anything other than Google showing that there is an exploitation, and the only thing they can show is they can heat the chip up a little bit, and they did that in the last couple of days. So I'm going to say a lot of brouhaha. This is exactly where you'd want to buy Intel if it had come down on light volume, but it had not, and it had a huge run. So is it going to go sideways for a little while? Yes. Today at 5 o'clock, if you do your normal updates from Microsoft, they already have a patch. That patch will be installed, I think, after 5 o'clock. I tried to do it before the show just to see if it was up and running yet. It was not. So you'll be able to patch it. Apple already had a patch that did 90% of what they thought that someone could do. They're going to issue their patch in the next week for the Macs. So probably going to be a lot in the rearview mirror, but very interesting to see what happens when Apple does something and they're treated one way, and Intel does stuff and they're treated the other way, which is we love Apple. Intel's not quite the company that we wish it to be. They don't run around causing all kinds of social issues and employing social justice warriors, so we'll go after them a little bit more. Anyway, just kind of interesting. I did not have a position in it. We did and were long Intel. I got out of it a little earlier before it got up to 47. I think we got out in the mid 46s or something, and made a few bucks on it. But I think the future for Intel is fairly bright, although this big move probably needs to be consolidated a bit. But that's it. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648. Email me at path@tfnn.com, and I'll get a little off my soapbox. But this was probably the most egregious ignoring of facts that have been around for a while. And unless I miss something really big, which you occasionally do, but not very often. I think we got about 98% idea that probably in 2 weeks you'll never hear about this much again. So we'll do it out there. Yeah, they've got to get you to watch every second of the day and sell some advertising. But that's it. Anyway, Intel, heavy volume out here. The idea that AMD is impervious is untrue, but a lot of people were pushing that. And the question I wonder a lot of times is, like The Godfather, If you remember that, Michael's going, we've got people on the newspaper payroll. You know what? And they probably like a nice, juicy, fat article about a cop that got messed up in drugs and got what he deserved. I think the newspapers would like a story like that, wouldn't they? And we got those guys on the payroll, so we can get them to say kind of what we want. And what can you say? Maybe they're on the payroll. Maybe they're just stupid. Maybe they just have to fill their hours. But for the most part, maybe they wanted to run a bunch of people that were short in AMD. Everybody just washes one hand over the other around Wall Street. And maybe that's the way the things turn. A little doji out here on AMD. And my guess, you're probably going to see the low in Apple over the next couple of days. And by next Tuesday, maybe it is nothing but a faint memory. We'll be looking at charts for the rest of the show, and I'll get off my soapbox.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tesla came out with its shipping numbers, and no surprise, they overpromise and underdeliver on a ridiculously high amount of forecasts, but its investor base does not care. They are true believers, and why I call Tesla the I Omega of 2017 and now going into 2018. But as long as 35% of the shares are shorted every day, it becomes incredibly hard to see one of these stocks break, and you have to sit and sit and sit before these things blow up. And if the market's headed higher, these things can also hold higher for a ridiculously long amount of time. Just look how long Sears has been going out of business, and it took 3 years for Radio Shack to go out of business. Tesla probably not going out of business, but it is a $300 stock that's always been a $40 stock if you valued it in any other way of any other stock. I put this in the Tech Insider a week or two ago. How many more electric vehicles has Tesla sold than BMW? Most people wouldn't think BMW is the leader, but BMW is a land office business in Europe in electric vehicles. They also have a huge dealer base over there. And to Tesla's about 130,000 cars that they've built. We're about 117,000 right now with BMW. So BMW is very close to swamping, and at the rate that BMW is going, will swamp and be the biggest electric car builder by next year, especially if Tesla can't produce any cars. Anyway, not going to matter in the short run, will matter eventually. As Mr. Buffett says, you can only tell who's been swimming without their bathing suits when the tide goes out. And that's what you're looking for. You want a market that's crested to pull these. We had a lot of opportunities last year. They were eventually saved by a variety of issues. But I think that's all in now. I think we're now seeing the Fed pull back, and we're seeing tax issues take center stage and push the market. The question is, at what point do we get an overvalued market and there's no more good news, tax cuts, regulatory relief, and that could take a while. I don't know if it'll take a year or not, but I don't see anything that really says that the market's getting ready to roll over at all, other than maybe some small pullbacks in a lot of sectors, which, you know, not going to be a big deal. Anyway, Tesla was down to 305 today, and of course it's back in the 310s, 313.86 as we speak. But again, any stock that's that heavily shorted it's kind of a crapshoot if you get it right when the stock fails. What you want to watch is for when shorts quit shorting. And when they do that, the next time this thing goes up, if no one shorts this thing, they finally give up the ghost. That is when these things can drop 100 or 150 bucks in a couple of weeks. Tesla certainly has that ability when they pull it's a house of cards. But we're going to need a breeze to push on it. And right now, we got people using a little super glue and hot glue guns to glue those cards together. And it's going to take a little while for that to fall. But, you know, maybe this year, maybe when BMW far outstrips Tesla production, we can see that. Okay, other things going on out here. We had that. Wanted to look at a few others on earnings. Data came out. No, it wasn't earnings. A little downgrade out here on Tableau software. Could have been much worse. Was much worse. Pre-market opened fairly nicely, but not a bad-looking chart out here. This is exactly what you want to see in a consolidation. Had a little downside surprise on earnings, but if you're looking for some of these stocks to outperform this year, you look for the ones that had problems last year. And of course, I love stocks that get sold off for tax reasons at the end of the year. They generally become fairly decent winners in the first part of the year. But what I like in this one is a pattern in one of the gold stocks that I bought, and that was this very, very light volatility and long sideways action. That normally means that you've got somebody that's a willing buyer right under this level. So keep an eye on it. It's in the right software market. I don't know if the market is big enough, but we'll keep an eye on this one. It makes, the question is, what kind of products do they make? They make products that display the data, like dashboards and data mining software. So let's say you're a big corporation CEO or CFO, and you want to basically know what's going on all the time. The dials and gauges on your dash of your car, that's what they put together. So you can always know how much money is there. How much money do you have in receivables? How much do you have that in that way? Instead of having reams of alternating gray and white paper with coming out of your dot matrix printer that's putting out reams and reams, you can just go on a little website, take a quick look. You can answer all your questions fairly easily. So it is the Reader's Digest version of everything you want to see about your company, and maybe artificial intelligence and or computer learning issues. They can display it, make nice charts of it, and they offer some of their own machine learning routines to get that data. So a combination of display and data mining products. So kind of like a Splunk. SPLK is kind of the sister to this company. Splunk is more, a little less display and a lot more algorithms. This company had a real tough problem coming out of the gate after its IPO. After the last earnings call, though, a huge move up as these guys have gotten their foot in the door in a lot of Fortune 500 companies and doing well. Splunking, I guess, is crawling around in caves. Not exactly sure why they picked that name. Sounds a little weird. I don't want it. Sounds like maybe a disease that you'd get. I got splunk. Anyway. Weird name. But apparently doing well in earnings and picking up new customers. But them and data are probably fairly close in the sector. But again, Splunk has a little better market in the fact that they're not going after a handful of people in Fortune 500. They're going after a wide variety of everybody. And I think their market, as they say in the industry, total available market, which is I always run the other way anytime I hear anybody say that, because it's like, Boeing makes a 787, and the total addressable market, if everybody bought a 787 for their own private use, well, no one's going to buy a 787. Airlines will, maybe a handful of billionaires will, and airlines. So the total addressable market are airlines for the 95% of the business. Everybody always uses that, but Splunk probably a bigger total addressable.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks! Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
The Taz Profile Scanner Plus, developed by John Logan and his team, is a standalone piece of software that can change the way you trade. Let the Taz Profile Scanner work for you by scanning over 5,000 financial instruments such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial to the Taz Profile Scanner Plus right at TFNN.com. And when you sign up, you gain instant access to John Logan's most recent webinar, How Price, Volume, and Time Make Market Profiles So Unique. This hour-long webinar with John Logan will walk you through the most powerful features of the scanner and how you can use it to become a more successful and profitable trader. You pay absolutely nothing for 30 days while you try out this software risk-free. For more information on the Taz Profile Scanner and to get your 30-day free trial today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And we are back, and we've got an email from James. He wants to know my thoughts on Lumina, and another one on a long-term basis. Lumina is broken out here to a new high. The volume's not all that exciting. Even yesterday, what do we have? 900,000 shares yesterday, 500,000 shares today. These are all getting kind of long in the tooth. For an investment, though, Lumina, I think, is kind of tracking the same way Intuitive Surgical did over a number of years. I thought maybe they had too many machines out there for DNA sequencing. The future with new technologies that I can handle in the Tech Insider, which if you read on it, I've been writing about some new biotechs, are going to need the use of Illumina's products. So I think the business is good for them. It's maturing, though, and you could have some decent pullbacks. But I think for years to come, this business is only going to get bigger and better for sequencing DNA, and that's what Illumina does. They make machines that quickly sequence DNA, and for the most part, you know that you're looking in a very specific part of the DNA, so these machines can actually be quite efficient since you're not looking through the entire DNA, just a part of it. If I remember right, if you do the entire DNA sequence, it's about 88 gigabytes. So, you know, it's pretty long, but most of the time you're looking for things that are in the megabyte range, and so they kind of turn their focus to specific things, making these machines very efficient for finding out things medically. So good product. A lot of the upside is built into this, but long term, it's like Intuitive Surgical. I think it's only going to get bigger and better. But you know, in 5-10 years, could this be $1,000 stock, split adjusted? I think the answer is yes. Things are only going to get better in this sector. You may go years, though, where this goes sideways, and that is the question about how good, how steady you're going to be as a investor. The other question he wanted me to look like was AAOI. This one is a lot more precarious. This business of working with backhaul providers for the internet. We talked, I think, with Tom 4 or 5 weeks ago about both Amazon and Microsoft getting involved in dropping their own cables transatlantically so they couldn't be shut off by various ISPs. And that's a great deal of it. But these things are always big projects, and they come in waves. And the question is, do you have your ear close enough to the soil? These things really took off in 2000 and 2001. In fact, there was one up here by the Clearwater Airport, if someone knows around me. And I keep forgetting the company. I made a boatload on the way up and on the way down with these guys, but they were into this. They were, hiring an extra 50 people a week, it seemed like, for 2 years as everybody was putting in new fiber optic cable. And then they were gone in 2 years because the business is just that way. It's like building railroads. Once you build the railroad, you're not probably laying more track in next to it. And, you put in all the electronics to repeat the signal down the fiber optic cable and test it. And that's what these guys are always in these optoelectronic businesses. And so it's feast and famine. The question is, can this thing hold this price? Looks pretty good here. Certainly like it on the chart. So I would probably hold on to it, look at it, and probably maybe give me a call again when this thing hits 55. Digital Lightwave, I want to thank you very much, Dan. It was Digital Lightwave right up there on, what is that? It's McMullen Booth until you hit the Courtney Campbell Causeway. Bayside, yeah, Bayside. So that's it. Anyway, optoelectronics looks like it makes a fairly low here. The way to hit these stocks is figure out when people are doing huge projects like Amazon and Microsoft and a handful of others that have dropped cable going between the United States and other ones, because those things are just littered with huge amounts of products. And it's feast or famine. These are a few projects that make, 80% of the business of a company for a few years. And then they go back to the normal run rate. And taking a watch and watching these is critical. But I like the light volume downside. You may not have the upside back to 113, but looks very interesting out here. We've got another email out here. Mr. Golfing Guy asked me, can you look at Roku for the next 6 months? ROKU. And comment briefly on its technology. And the answer is yes. Roku makes products like Chromecast and the Fire Stick from Amazon. These things sell for very cheap. They're trying to get you into their network, kind of like a Netflix. I don't see a compelling reason. It got downgraded, yesterday or the day before today? I think it got downgraded today by somebody, and that's why, at least partially the reason this thing's down. The downside is that this is one of the most highly shorted stocks out here, and I think it's at least 50% short. As I said in Tesla, these things can go sideways for an eternity, but one of the best arguments against Roku being worth 50 some odd bucks and being worth more like $10 was put out by Citron, and I think it's Andrew Block did it. You might want to read his entire takedown on Roku, but I thought this thing was incredibly questionable. And is it kind of a GoPro kind of thing? I think. Is it worth nothing? The answer is no. Is it worth a whole lot? I don't think the answer is yes. It's worth somewhere in the middle. It's going to be one of these also ran guys. They do make their own hardware. I just don't think that making your hardware for $25 is or $50 is worth a lot. Now, on the downside, The thing that would scare me was Roku was had giant sales after Christmas, selling their device for $75 was then on sale for $50. And I see that happening with Apple. And then the next couple of days, you find out their numbers are going south. Anytime you see huge discounts on products, it always worries me. We'll talk more about Roku in the next segment.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge Heard Daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
As I said, probably the best thing to do is read Andrew Block's argument. He is short this with Citron. I think he's short it somewhere around the $48, $50 level. But again, this is a stock that's 50% short, something in that range has been. And these things can go sideways until all the shorts decide to give up. So it's got a while, I suspect, unless the market cracks, in which this thing is going to probably go back down to $20. But the arguments for a company that does not own its own content, that's basically an aggregator of other people that don't want to go through Netflix and or Amazon Prime or soon to be Disney, is an issue. They also do not have local servers near your location like Netflix does. That's probably Netflix and Amazon's big advantage is that they control the pipes fairly close to your house, so that you can always move a lot of data for video and streaming media fairly close. Netflix actually put those boxes in your local internet service provider, paid for them years ago. NFLX, take a quick look at that. This one was testing the previous high on lighter volume 2, which kind of means I haven't done a sector study on Netflix and Roku and the rest of these, but they look awful toppy. Netflix, Facebook, a handful of these things, I think we're kind of close to probably some kind of pullback. But not a lot of juice in Netflix today as it makes new highs at 207.05. So, you know, is Roku going higher? Could you get another short squeeze in it? You can. Is it long-term a huge product? I don't think so. It's a $10 or $20 stock at $50. Just like GoPro was, because everybody shorted it and they ran it to 110. The truth will be out, but it'll take a year. In the meantime, sell when you can, not when you have to. And we will see you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.